Tonight we present
the Chupacabra in Canóvanas. In the early hours of March 7, 1995, local authorities in Canóvanas, Puerto Rico, received a series of unsettling reports from several farms in the area. What initially seemed like an act of rural vandalism quickly turned into a regional mystery. More than a dozen animals were found dead under strange circumstances. Goats, chickens, and pigs lay motionless, lifeless, with two identical puncture marks on their necks. What was most disturbing was the total absence of blood in the bodies or on the surrounding ground. Don Eusebio Martinez, a local farmer, was the first to raise the alarm. He reported hearing a metallic, sharp noise coming from his pen during the early hours of the morning. Upon inspecting, he found all his goats dead. It was as if the night had swallowed everything alive there, he said in an interview. This initial discovery marked the beginning of a series of events that would challenge conventional explanations and fuel one of the most enigmatic legends in Latin America, the Chupacabra. Canóvanas, a lowland area surrounded by forested hills and bathed by the Grande de Loiza River, had always been a place rich with stories and superstitions. The local population, mostly from rural backgrounds, maintained a close connection with the land, but also with the region's collective imagination. Stories of fantastical beings like the night gargoyles or the guardians of the woods had been passed down through generations, inherited from Taino traditions and reinforced by cultural syncretism after the arrival of the colonizers. In the early 1990s, the area was no stranger to rumors about strange experiments taking place in nearby military installations, including the Roosevelt Roads Naval Base. Some believed these experiments involved genetic manipulation, while others linked them to sporadic UFO sightings in the night sky. This backdrop of suspicion and mystery provided the perfect breeding ground for a legend to take shape. As March progressed, reports of livestock deaths multiplied. In less than 3 weeks, more than 150 animals had been found dead with the same characteristics: puncture marks on their necks, no blood, and no signs of struggle or other external injuries. The rural communities were on the edge of panic. The authorities attempted to offer logical explanations. Hypotheses ranged from wild dog attacks to nocturnal predators. However, these theories were quickly dismissed. Veterinary experts sent to investigate could not determine the cause of death with certainty. It's as if something is draining the life directly from these animals, one of the specialists remarked in a preliminary report. The mayor of Canóvanas, Jose Quimo Soto, took an active role in the case. He organized nighttime patrols, accompanying local residents in search of answers. During one of these expeditions, a group claimed to have seen a humanoid figure in the woods near one of the affected farms. According to the witnesses, the creature had grayish skin, intensely glowing eyes, and a strange, almost floating gait. The descriptions were consistent with rumors already circulating among the locals. The local media quickly dubbed the enigmatic predator El Chupacabra, a term that encapsulated the collective fear and soon went viral across Puerto Rico and beyond. The phenomenon attracted the attention of journalists, paranormal investigators, and even international ufologists. Meanwhile, reports of encounters with the creature grew in frequency and detail. A young woman named Ana Torres claimed to have seen it from her kitchen window as it stalked her chickens. According to Ana, the creature was smaller than she expected, but its gaze seemed to pierce straight into the soul. Another account, from a truck driver passing through a rural road, described how a strange being leaped in front of his vehicle with an inhuman jump, disappearing into the dense foliage. On April 25th, a shocking piece of news further rattled the community. An amateur explorer named Luis Rivera, who had been investigating the case with a group of friends, disappeared during a nighttime excursion into the woods. His companions reported hearing a sound they described as an electrical buzzing before Luis, who was a few meters ahead, vanished from their sight. All that was found was his video camera, partially damaged. The footage recovered from Luis Rivera's camera was analyzed by local experts and sent to a television station. The images showed something chilling. a flash of white light followed by a sharp sound and a blurry figure moving quickly toward the lens. The recording abruptly ended with what seemed to be a muffled scream. Luis's disappearance became a turning point in the case. Despite extensive searches in the area, neither he nor any further evidence of his whereabouts was found. The Canóvanas forest, once seen as a source of life and livelihood, had turned into a place of fear and speculation. As questions outnumbered answers, an uncomfortable truth began to emerge. What lurked in the darkness of the forest not only defied science but seemed to want to remain hidden. Luis Rivera's disappearance led to a reassessment of the investigations. The footage found on his camera was handed over to international experts, who concluded that the flashes and sharp sound were consistent with unexplained electromagnetic phenomena. However, the blurry figure in the video continued to defy any attempt at identification. The patrols intensified, but with each passing night, the fear grew deeper. The population was divided between those who believed the culprit was a supernatural predator and those who suspected covert human experiments. Amid this tension, a new lead emerged. An anonymous letter delivered to Mayor Soto's office, containing coordinates pointing to a restricted area near the edge of the forest and a cryptic message: "Don't seek what you're not ready to find." The search team, once again led by Mayor Soto and consisting of local police, journalists, and volunteers, decided to follow the lead. The coordinates led them to an old abandoned facility that had once served as a military warehouse during the 1960s and 70s. The entrance was surrounded by overgrowth, and the buildings, rusted and covered in graffiti, appeared harmless. However, upon entering, the team found unsettling signs: corroded metal cages, fragmented documents with military logos, and a persistent chemical smell in the air. Among the recovered documents, a partially legible report caught their attention. Titled Project Codename Chupacabra, it mentioned experiments involving animal species and extreme adaptations designed to survive in hostile environments. The text referenced an unknown biological component called Subject X, described as highly aggressive with a unique metabolic dependency, a requirement for pure hemoglobin. As the team ventured deeper into the facility, they found an underground chamber. There, under the dim light of flashlights, they discovered several cells with bent bars, as if something had forced its way out. In one corner, scratched into the wall with claw-like marks, was a message in English: "Release was a mistake." While exploring the underground chamber, a strange noise interrupted the search. It was a mechanical sound, a buzzing similar to the one recorded on Rivera's camera. Suddenly, the flashlights began to flicker, and a flash of white light illuminated the place. In the midst of the chaos, some witnesses claimed to have seen a humanoid figure swiftly crossing between the shadows, leaving inexplicably deep footprints on the concrete floor. The team decided to evacuate immediately, but in the confusion, one of the volunteers, a young man named Mateo, disappeared. This second disappearance reinforced the belief that they were facing something they could neither comprehend nor control. Mateo was reported missing, and the facility was sealed under orders from local authorities, with a warning that no one should approach. However, in the following days, a detail emerged that changed the entire perspective of the case. One of the journalists who had been part of the expedition revealed a shocking discovery. Photographs recovered from an old laboratory showed a creature with alarmingly similar characteristics to those described by the Chupacabra witnesses. Even more disturbing, the documents indicated that Subject X had escaped control in 1978, and the experiments had been discontinued without the specimen being recovered. The connection was now undeniable. The Chupacabra was not just an urban legend born from collective fear, but the consequence of clandestine scientific experiments. Subject X had adapted to its environment, and in its biological need for hemoglobin, it attacked livestock. This explained both the puncture marks on the bodies and the absence of blood. Yet, the discovery raised more questions than answers. How had the specimen survived for decades without being detected? And why did the attacks intensify in 1995? Some researchers theorized that environmental changes or human intervention in its habitat might have pushed it to act more aggressively. Others suspected that more subjects, like it, still existed, hidden in the vast expanses of forest. The Chupacabra case in Canóvanas marked a turning point in the perception of modern mysteries in Latin America. While some insisted it was a warning against irresponsible genetic manipulation, others saw it as a demonstration of how local legends can contain glimpses of even more disturbing truths. Mayor Soto, deeply affected by the events, declared, "Whatever it is we are facing, it reminds us that there are still forces in this world we don't understand. Sometimes those forces are external, but other times they come from within ourselves." Today, the Canóvanas forest remains closed to the public, a place where stories continue, and the echo of the unexplained persists.
The questions don't end here, nor does our pursuit. If this story unveiled something you never expected to discover, then you're in the right place. Remember to subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this tale with others who, like you, are drawn to the unknown. Here, mystery always finds its voice, until we meet again, where the inexplicable will once again serve as our starting point.